guys, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight at Potomac Station Coffee House, where the coffee has standards and the cinnamon rolls have no regrets. We have a great show for you coming up. I'm trying to be funny. I'm Valerie, that's David, and this is our Gen X Pittsburgh Podcast. Tonight's guest truly needs no introduction. At some point of your life, you probably woke up with him. Okay. He's the Pittsburgh comedian with a heart of gold, and he's the only person we know who can string together a Stiller loss, a Smiley cookie, and a Pittsburgh parking chair. We got Jim Krenn in the house tonight. Woo!
Hi, Valerie.
Pittsburgh
it sure
royalty.
is. I'm super excited about this
Me too.
one.
I am so excited.
You know, I worked in radio for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, I don't want to date Jim because, you know, my back hurts when I wake up in the morning and my knees ache when it rains, right? But when I was in college, Jim was sort of the big name, right?
Yeah.
It was what everyone wanted to, everyone who was working in radio was aspiring to be host of the DVE morning show, right?
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
We're
We'll take a
gonna
quick break.
A short break. And we'll be right back with Jim Krenn. When I need a coffee that actually shows up and a sweet that understands commitment, I head out to Potomac Station Coffee. Everything's made in-house, always fresh, and yes, that cinnamon roll, you're eating the whole thing. And the ever-changing latte menu is legendary. Check out Potomac Station Coffee House next to the tracks in Dormont. All right, welcome back to GXP. We got Jim Krenn here. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love this coffee shop.
Yeah.
I'm a new
great,
fan.
right?
It's like a jewelry or something. Look at
Yeah,
that
I know.
pastry. It's amazing back there.
Right?
It smells
Yeah.
so good. I could just sit here and smell in the bacon.
A little different than
Good.
Next Fat City, right?
Good. Yes. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember it.
Yeah. So, you know, I first of all, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
I wasn't kidding. Valerie and I were very excited when
My honor.
I called her and I was like, "You're never going to believe we just said yes, right?" Like it, and I have to tell you, I booked Mayor Peduto, right? And I was like, I didn't call her to talk about Peduto. I called to talk about Jim Krenn. So thank you so much. Yeah, but I would love if you would start just by telling us your background because you're so associated with Pittsburgh. Did you grow up here? I mean, what was it?
I grew up in the Strip District, 12th Street.
Really?
Right behind the Heinz History Center, in a little dive apartment. You know, we lived above American Equipment. In those days, the wholesalers rented out to different people, you know, so we had these little apartments. My grandmother and great-grandmother lived there. My aunts, uncles, there were row houses where the parking lots now, you know, in the Strip on 13th, 14th Street. And the church owned them. The church would rent them out to people. So I grew up the first 15 years of my life. Family was all around me, just blocks within blocks. I thought everybody had it like that. I was fortunate as I grew up. I was like, no, I was real blessed to have it that way. And then, of course, time changed things. And, you know, we moved out different places and we stayed there. Well, my mom, dad moved to Brookline. I went off to college and on the road and doing stand-up. But the epicenter of myself, where I grew up or, you know, learned to be me, I guess, my family is in the Strip.
Wow.
Pittsburgh all the way.
And so Valerie said to me, you know, he grew up in the Strip District.
Yeah.
And I said, he most certainly did not.
Yeah.
And I was wrong,
interesting.
right? So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah.
You went to IUP? What did you
I went to
study?
IUP. I studied business, of all things.
Wow.
I had like a GPA of like 2.1 or something like that. They had me up there about 7 years ago for distinguished alumni or something. I'm like, did they even look at my transcript?
Right.
Did they even know? They must have saw I graduated. That was it. I barely made it. Barely
Right.
graduated. But I wanted to be a comedian since I was a kid, since I was in high school.
You knew that early, that's what you wanted
I
to
just
do?
knew it. And I was
Were you
able to.
funny? Were you funny?
Quietly funny amongst friends,
Yeah.
a small group. And I was able to do impressions,
Yeah.
you know, when I was young.
Right.
And I probably shouldn't have seen it, but I watched like my first impression was Jack Nicholson. And I saw Cuckoo's Nest, like 13 years old. And after I watched it, I just walked around talking like Jack Nicholson. I couldn't stop talking like Jack. And I realized I had something here. So I started to do impressions, and it grew from there. And I developed an act and won my talent show in high school somehow, and went and took off from there. And I said, how do I make a living though? How do you do this?
Right.
Making a living. And God blessed me, because it was an era where the comedy clubs boomed, and they were new, new concept. The same concept and structure that's now. You have an MC, you have a middle act, you have a headliner. Same thing as the Improv now, or wherever. So they had these clubs all over the country, 3-4 clubs in every city, and you could make a living as a comedian, which was crazy. So I got out of college and I went on the road and became a comedian. I started as an MC and worked my way up to headliner in about 2 years. I was driving around the country doing one-nighters. About 2 years went by, and I didn't care. I would have did it forever as an MC. But 2 years later, I remember I'm flying around the country headlining, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm thinking, and so I started to become a regular at Dangerfields in New York. Lived in New York for a while, but in Pittsburgh, go back and forth. But a lot of my work was East Coast, New York City. An uncle lived up there. I stayed with him, and so I was ready to move to LA with a couple managers. They were going to manage me and Jim Carrey and Tim Allen.
Wow.
They were all on the comedy club circuit like me. So Allen was known a little bit from Showtime.
Yeah.
Carrey was the headliner in all the comedy clubs. He's from Canada. Really great act, obviously. Unique. And myself and these two guys were going to manage us. They were from Dangerfields. And they moved to LA. And I said, I'm going to go home for a few months, Pittsburgh. And I'll meet you. I'll go to LA. Say it was like September, but I'll be out in January. So I get home and I start working around Pittsburgh. And I go to Graffiti. Remember Graffiti?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had a gig at Graffiti. They were tied into WDB to promote the show. And I'm like, okay. So I go on the morning show. I didn't realize this, but DVE was 17th in the market out of 20 stations at that time.
Right.
Their morning show left, Jimmy and Steve.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I go on a morning show, and Scott Paulson is there, and they're trying to hang on. They're going to, I guess, change or whatever it's going to happen when it's 17th in the market. And I didn't know any of this at all. So I hit it off with Scott, and I enjoyed it. It was different than stand-up. It's like combat. Right. You have to get 4 laughs a minute for an hour. And this was like, talking like this is nice. And so it's fun. And did a few impressions and whatever. And it just took off from there. And they asked me at the end of 3 months, I'd go back. They said, come back every Friday. So I did. And at the end of 3 months, they said, do you want to stay? Do you want to go on to do this for a while? And I did. And I said, okay. And they said, okay, we'll pay you a lot of money. And I said, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I stayed for, I thought it would last 6 months. And it went 24 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well,
glad I did. I'm glad I stayed in Pittsburgh too.
well, it seems like, tell me if I'm wrong, but you were actually working a lot more than if you were doing comedy. I mean, the routine of it, right? Like there were so many skits and so many remotes and so many live appearances. It just seems like you were always working. I don't know how, on a Monday, it seemed like you guys spent hours in the production studio coming up with gig or skits, right? Am I right about that, or how'd that work?
I loved to write. I wrote on and off for a couple of years for Jerry Seinfeld and Dennis Miller and a few other comedians, and so I loved writing for others, and I love writing my act. And there's so much freedom with DVE at the time. Like I said, the ratings weren't big yet,
Right.
so we had 8 to 10 minute windows that I could talk about anything I wanted. And I thought, what would Saturday Night Live on radio be like to do characters? And I did characters.
Yeah.
And some I did on stage, but not many. And I had developed them for what I didn't know what for. But here it was, for this. And so I developed these, characters and skits, and that's how it started. I just started filling them up with writing and waited to see which ones caught on. Yeah. And I ended with, at the end, it was like 24 separate characters I did and skits that I just kept would redo.
Right.
Tool. And we started getting into CDs, which was fun. At the end of the first year, we had all these skits, these characters, and what do we do with them? So Scott and I said, well, let's do a CD, a comedy CD. We put in cassette. That's how long ago that was. And we did that. And remember National Record Mart?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We sold we sold enough to make like $300,000-$400,000.
Right.
Oh, my God.
I'm like 25 years old.
Yeah.
26. Now, I gave 100% of it to charity, took not a dime.
Right.
And that was fun because I was able to cut checks for $50,000 to charities.
Wow.
Like Animal Friends and all these charities I get a bond with. And it was real cool being able to help them out like that. And I didn't realize it till it was happening.
Yeah.
And I said, this is fantastic. It feels so good. And my grandmother was right. What happened was when I first started on DVE, I had this billboard campaign. It was a $300,000 billboard campaign. So I'm all over the city, plaster my face. And I remember I'd pick my grandmother up on Wednesdays. We go to the bingo. She lived in Shaler. So I drive her down the south side to the bingo. And I'm all over the place in billboards. I'm on DVE now, maybe 6-8 months, whatever it was. And we're pulling on the north side or wherever it was. There's one of those billboards, like huge. And I said, what do you think, Grandma? She goes, great. You know what, Jimmy? You're only going to be remembered for who you help in life.
Wow.
She said, use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was right.
Wow.
That's where the charity thing came in. It was right. She was right. That's where the joy came in helping these groups, charity organizations. And we did like 18 through my career CDs. And it's helped me a lot because those bits ended up emblazoned in a lot of people's minds until this day, which I love. People come up and quote them to me, which is so fun.
Sure.
A guy's a heart surgeon. Guy's a heart surgeon. Had like MC. He's like going, okay, this is what you did here, and pants and that, Like, wow, how do you know that?
I just want to kind of throw something out there real quick.
Sure.
Multiple times you top entertainer and favorite radio personality in Pittsburgh. Multiple times. In 2008, the mayor declared Jim Krenn Day, February 22nd, for all your charity work. Animal Friends Lifetime Achievement Award because you were helping abused animals.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI gave him an award, which is pretty cool. The Director's Community Service Award for your leadership in charitable outreach. 2012, Pittsburgh City Council named you an honorary ambassador of the city of Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. You've used your platform to help animals and children and families, which is just absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank my grandma, right?
Yeah.
Grandma was right. Grandma was right. And I'm so glad I stayed in Pittsburgh my entire career and didn't move out. Had a few opportunities and I just didn't want to. And I can't tell you that it's the most unique city in the world. Right? People don't know. We have a subway that goes a block long. I know. That's ours. We like it. Right? We have an incline. We don't use it except when people come in from out of town.
Yeah.
We like it. It's us. It's our thing. But the people, and I, not just saying it, I mean it. Like, for instance, when I got let go on radio after 24 years, and I was ready to go, believe me, it was time, health-wise. But when I got let go, man, Pittsburgh, I'd see someone in Giant Eagle go, hey, Jimmy, you okay? You can live in my attic if you want. So things pick up. I mean, that's Pittsburgh, man. They're worried about me. And I love that, man, about the city and the people.
And we talked about when you left DVE, people were protesting. I don't know if you guys remember that. Like, people were pissed, and they wanted you back.
They were amazing. I was real touched by that. And, I mean, I just can't thank the people enough for what they've done for me and making my career. I had my My buddies in Lawrence, I had to talk them out. They wanted to burn the building.
Wow, yeah.
Like, no, guys, that's not a good idea. Now, I'll tell you how cool Pittsburgh is to anybody out there who's not from here and what I'm talking about, so you get it. In 2008, I lost my dog Gizmo. He was walking in Banksville Park. A friend of mine was walking. He gets off leash, gets lost. It's December 17th. December 17th. 10 degrees, like snow everywhere. Banksville Park. I run up there, and I'm looking for him for hours and hours, and it goes through the night. And he's a little, like 12-pound mixed mutt from Animal Friends. And I'm worried, it's freezing.
Yeah.
And the next morning, I look and it's 5 in the morning, and I call DV and say, I can't make it in. It's all they said on the radio. They said, Jim Krenn's not coming in today. He lost his dog in Banksville Park. He's looking for it. It's all they said. About an hour and a half later, this guy has a dog. He goes, hey, man, did you find him yet? I'm like, what? Did you find Gizmo? I'm like, how do you know I lost Gizmo? They said on the radio, you're looking for him. I took a vacation day to come out.
Oh my God.
That's Pittsburgh, baby.
Yeah.
So I don't know this, but the media's picking up on it. It ends up, my mom saw it on, she's watching Oprah.
Unbelievable.
Show on a crawl, Jim Krenn's the dog Gizmo lost. Only in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Gizmo got an Amber Alert. I don't notice. I'm looking around for Gizmo, and the media's following me and stuff. I looked up at one point. I found him on day 3. I found him, but anyway, at day 2, I looked up in this parking lot. There has to be 700 people there.
Holy.
It was like ground zero for
That's-
this thing. I had guys from Marines with night vision goggles that came by. We found him day 3. He was fine, just dehydrated, the whole thing. And I was at my house, and we're celebrating. We found him, and people were so kind, right? And they're passing him around like a trophy.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. It's like 11 o'clock at night now. I'm just whooped. I can't believe he's alive and just dehydrated. So I get a call from Andrew Stocky. He says, hey, man, did you come on the air and talk? Did you talk on the phone? I said, sure. Mm-hmm. So I'm talking. I go, I wonder what they're putting on TV. I don't know how they got it. Till this day. Gizmo. Had a headshot. Like it looked professional. I don't know where he got it. It was over Stocky's head.
Wow.
And he said, Gizmo found underneath. I'm like, where's the picture?
Unbelievable.
Gizmo found him. Only in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
But that's the community, man.
Right.
Everybody came together. It didn't matter. It didn't matter it was on DV or any of that. No, we would come out for anyone that we knew that was in need like that. We would come out for any neighbor that was hurting like that to help them. And that, to me, epitomizes Pittsburgh. Why?
Yeah.
I love the city, the people. Right there. It's one story of many, but I love that one. Gizmo found.
Well, one of the things that was always impressed with and continue to be when we're talking about Pittsburgh and the community is that you had this unique gift to bring out the yinzer, right? But not, and everyone loved it, right? But never to talk down, right? It was like you were one of the people, and they appreciated that. Where if it was somebody else from out of town, what you were saying, they might have been irritated with.
Yeah, when I was on the road doing stand-up, I got this, you build these instincts comedically from doing 6 shows a week, every week for years, for 6 years at that point. And I grew up in Pittsburgh, obviously, and so I'm back here and living in, after about 3 beers in me, I start talking like this. I got right in my Pittsburgh.
That's all it takes is 3 beers.
3 beers. That's all it takes. Give me another round. And it's one of those things, our language. And I noticed at that time, people that was kind of, it was seen as derogatory for some reason. It was seen as down. And I'm like, why is that? And I thought, I created this character, Stanley Pgh. I have no idea where I named him. But Stanley Pgh. And I decided, okay, he's going to just be proud of who he is and screw everybody if you don't like it, kind of thing, right? He's just proud of it, man. He loves Pittsburgh. It's his town. You don't get it too bad. He's just going to be honest. I'm going to try to make it honest, his character, and make commentaries. And he took off. All of a sudden, it took off. Yeah. And the Yinzer thing just started building with it. And I didn't start it or anything. I created it. Yinzer's been around a long time. But I had a small part in it with that character. I was doodling, listening to Lou Reed, Take a Walk on the Wild Side. And I just don't know why. I'm just like, take a walk on the south side. And the Polish girl sang. So I go and record it. And again, we raised for charity. I think I sold 100,000 units in like 2 weeks or something like that for this one song. And that kind of like broke open that character, Stanley P, to become the foundation of all the characters that I do. He became, because it is a derivative of myself, really, and my relatives, friends, is a little bit of everybody. So the characters, so I did sing commentaries on what was going on, and it's really fun having people come up and remind me of commentaries I don't remember, whatever, it's 20 years ago. Yeah. You were talking about this, you were talking about that. The heart surgeon guy, I told you, comes up to me and says, "Hey, remember Stanley you did, where you're in your JoJo's Diner," and I don't remember this, right? He's telling me, in Smallwood Street, and he said, your belly's hanging over under your shirt, and you feel a tickle. You turn around, it's Sharon Stone, and you looked over and goes, "Close your legs." Penny was open or something. I'm like laughing. I forgot that whole bit. But that would be the epitome of what Stanley was. He's like that weird, our cousin or neighbor, our friend, a Pittsburgh guy, and he's proud to be Pittsburgh. So it's kind of cool to be reminded of that.
You had so many characters. Did you come up with the character first or the voice first? Or like how did you build those characters?
Sometimes a little bit of both. Ralph the cat. Yeah. I had the character.
I love that, right?
He's my burnout cat.
Yeah.
And he was based off a friend in college at IUP. It's my burnout friend. Bullwinkle's his nickname. And he had his voice, man. The burnout kind of, nervous a little bit. Just like everything's, the world's gonna end, man. I need my weed. And it's good, man. And I would do the character, and on open stage, I do it at a club, the Pittsburgh Comedy Club, whatever. And the people would laugh at the voice. And I go, I gotta do something with that voice. I don't know what I can do with that voice. This went on for months. Hey, man. So months go by. Now, I have a million dogs and cats, and this was my first one, was Ralph. Cat, real cat. Mm-hmm. I go to Animal Friends, and they were on Penn Avenue, strip. And I go in, and a lady there, it was a real small place. Lady in front, Judy, she worked there. And she goes, I said, "I'd like to get a cat." She goes, "Go back and look." So I go back and look. And there's Ralph. This mangy looking, had like round eyes. And a cat. Hair sticking up everywhere. It's real thin, crazy looking in the back. "Who's that?" She goes, "It's Ralph. She's a lifer." "What's that?" "It's a no-kill shelter. He's going to live here forever. He got taken back 4 times. He got sent back."
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I go, "I'll take him."
Wow.
She says, "Sure?" I go, "Yeah." "How many of you have cats here?" "Cat people? Couple." "Okay." I didn't know what catnip was. If you never had a cat, catnip looks like weed. And I go to the counter, and Judy says, "This is for Ralph." Hands me a big bag. I'm like, "Judy, I'm going to adopt him. You don't have to give me that." I'm like, is this a thing? Adopt an animal, get a bag of weed? Like, are you allowed to do this? And she goes, "No, it's his." And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, it's like a little kitty ball? How do you do it? You blow in his face? I have no idea.
Yeah.
She goes, "No, you put it in a sock and he'll he'll love it. He needs it. It relaxes him." Like, okay. So I'm driving home, and he's in this little box. His little hand is trying to get the catnip. He's nuts. I let him out of my house. It's a big living room, long wooden floor. He comes out, he's shaking. He's freaking out.
Yeah.
He's rolling around. I'm like, what's going on? So I remember the catnip. I get the catnip, put it in a sock, throw it. He starts making love to us. Like Barry White. Making love. Hey, baby, you keep on doing it. And all of a sudden, he starts rolling and runs into a wall. Like he wanted to. And I look, and his little eyes are like this, looking up at me. And that's when the character voice kicked in. He looked like he wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
And yet it looked like, I'm gonna like you here, man. Thanks for the sock, dude. You got 2 feet. That means you get another sock, man. I'm like, Ralph, that's you, man. You're that character. You're that voice. And that's how it was born. I went to work and said, hey, I got a character.
Wow.
They thought I was nuts. I said, no, I'm telling you, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call him as Ralph, the cat. And then it took off the catnip thing, and I guess everyone associated
Yeah.
with, that kind of thing. And this is innocent, funny burnout character, who was happened to be a cat.
Well, it's amazing to me that you had, not only did you have so many Pittsburghers as part of the skits, the mayors and things like that, but you had so many of them as guests in the skits. Sophie Maslow,
Yeah.
right? Edgar Schneider. I mean, how did that happen?
So I don't realize you can get sued. I didn't know. I wasn't thinking. 27 years old, just on the radio, having fun. And I start doing a skit called Edgar Shyster.
Yeah.
And I'm doing Edgar, doing a skit, and I do it recurring until I get a phone call. Secretary goes, Edgar Schneider. Mr. Schneider, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was just joking around. He goes, no, I love it. What? I love it. Can I do it live? I said, yeah. And I realized that's why this guy's so successful.
Yeah.
He gets it, man.
Right.
He came out and did it live with me. And the crowd went out of their minds.
Yeah.
They loved him. They loved him for doing that thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really cool. Sophie was the same way. I would do, thank you very much.
Yeah. Right?
I was supposed to interview her when the Smithfield Street Bridge was being reopened. She was late. So I did a bit of her bungee jumping. It made no sense. People would, I did this bit. And I was relentless on Sophie, and it's so funny. And then fast forward about 15 years later, whatever, they're roasting me. There's a roast, and they are killing me. It's like Comedy Central times 2. It's rated X, killing me. Sophie gets up, roasts me, does a nice, it's almost complimentary. She was worried as she's leaving. Producer said, she kept saying to him, I hope Tim is not mad at me. Okay. But yeah, it was interesting, great people. One of my favorites is I did Joe DiNardo.
Yes. Right.
And I made fun of the schools, business, whatever. Partly cloudy skies. Every forecast was the same. Answer showers. And I'd make up these weird, degenerate grade schools or something. They'd go to whatever, like a brothel or whatever. And I'm doing this for a while, and I get asked to do the St. Patrick's Day parade. And that's cool, from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I want to do that. All my buddies will be drunk, handing me beers. It's going to be fun. So they said, you got to go up to the arena at whatever time it was, 7 o'clock. You'll get a car, whatever. I'm up there waiting, and a guy jumps on my back, gets me in a headlock. It's Joe DiNardo. He starts MFing me. Every other word's F. If you bleep, I'm going to sue your bleeping ass. I'm going to bleep and sue you. I'm going to sue. I'm so sorry. He goes, I'm just messing with you. He gave me a Joe said with umbrellas. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. It was fun. Yeah, everybody I met was, they all got it. They all understood and played along, and it was just wonderful.
I actually have nobody's here to hear me, but I have a pretty funny Joe DiNardo story.
Okay.
When so when you're not successful in radio, you work at a million different stations, right? Until they find out you're no good at your job and they shift you to the next one. And so I was working at WTAE when it was AM. But it's at the same place the TV station is, right?
Yeah.
And so the first day, there's they hired 3 guys. We're all sitting there in the break room, and there's they just started a new promotion, right? So there's Joe's face, and it said Joe Seditwood, right?
He was like
and
a god.
He was.
Remember that guy?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so Joe walks into the
Nice
cafeteria, and he walks up to us, and he said, "Hi, I'm Joe DiNardo." And I said, "No, I know." And he said, "Well, if you need anything, be sure to let me know." And I said, I will. And he went, and this was the funny part, right?
Right.
He went, I'm kind of a big deal around here. And he said it in such a way, I couldn't tell if he was being earnest or kidding. Or
He's the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
I got to know him. Not a nicer guy.
Yeah.
Really good man.
So many of those people were. They're like the first, second generation of broadcasters.
And they all had great sense of humor, man.
They
were
did.
as funny as could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, real, X-rated funny stuff.
Right. Right.
Can we go back to characters? I
Yeah,
want to talk
absolutely.
about Action League Now.
Wow.
How did
okay.
that come around?
Pretty cool.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I had there was a hit show on Nickelodeon for 5 seasons, and I did 5 voices on this show, and it was weird how it happened. And I ended up doing a Burger King International commercial for 2 of the characters as a giveaway for a kids meal. That's how big these 2 characters, Stinky Diver in the Flesh, got. And it got so big after 5 seasons that I still get emails today that kids 6, 7 years old watched it back then in the 90s. And how it started was a buddy of mine. He was doing, Rick Rukowski's name is a great guy, very talented, had a production house in West Virginia in Weirton. And he was at the station. He was doing soundtracks for a TV show for Nickelodeon. It was Action League Now, this show. Said, hey, would you lay down do the voices, make up some voices just for me to time the soundtrack?
Oh, sure.
I said, okay. So I did about 5 voices. And about a month later, he said, hey, man, you got a gig. I go, what? He goes, they loved all 5 voices. They want you to be the main characters on this show. I said, what? And he said, yeah. So I would go down to the hall in the studio, and they'd be in New York, these guys. I'd have a script, they'd fax. I'd record episodes, like 15 a year or season or whatever,
Wow.
and got paid nothing, didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
Got paid a little bit, no.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing how powerful that show was. I didn't realize it. And, you really realize why you want to be an entertainer, and in a way, from something that happened to me because of that show, and happened to me once or a couple times on DVE. Just people connecting on what it meant to them, how it healed them. I got a letter, an old school letter. It's about 8 years ago. And this kid was in his 30s. He lived somewhere in Indianapolis. He's writing this letter. He said about Action League Now, and he said his mom and dad died in a car wreck when he was 6 years old. He said, my characters, Stinky Diver in the Flesh, were the only things that got him through that.
Wow.
Wow.
And I was like, man, yeah, that's wow. That's a powerful thing when you think about if you do nothing else in your life. I thought that was enough right there.
Yeah.
And I get that sometime on DVE where people would say, hey, I remember one woman said she had dialysis on Thursdays. You got to be funny, get me through it. It just reminds you how powerful, what an honor it is, and what it's the duty it is, and the privilege it is to have that position, to be able to do that. So so Action League was pretty nice to me. Yeah, I enjoyed that, having that show
Very cool.
for 5 seasons. Yeah.
So going from comedy to Pittsburgh radio and becoming Jim Krenn, what's that like? I mean, because you're sort of the Donnie Iris of comedy, right? Here in Pittsburgh. What's that like being so Pittsburgh famous?
It is really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't bought a drink in 20 years. No, it's fun, and it's fun for my friends, and because how Pittsburghers are, they appreciate, And so yeah, it's been. I just look at it as a real blessing and it's been a blast. It's as fun as you would think, you know what I mean? It's people, but people, I don't know if it's this area again or it's like that everywhere, but they don't bother you or anything. And but it'll be like, I'll be like a week later, be like, hey, Jimmy, I saw you at TJ Maxx. I didn't want to bother you. Well, yeah, I saw you. Okay, thanks. That's pretty fun. But yeah, so it's really fun.
Yeah.
It was really an instant kind of cool thing that happened. Yeah. But after the first year, I guess, is when it started to get recognized and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, so you and Scott were really responsible for the success of TV, right? You talked about it was one of the lowest ranked stations, and then it was a powerhouse. You were commanding the #1 ad rates. You had the highest ratings for a long time. The Steelers moved to TV, I think, at one point, right? I mean, it was a big deal when you guys were there.
Yeah, I mean, I was part of it. I mean, it was a real team effort to get to that kind of thing. We had programmers. This guy, Gene Romano, was instrumental in my career, believing in me and backing me when I was a kid, you know, because what I did was unorthodox. It wasn't really radio. Radio was, you know, it's different then, you know. And he backed me and was a creative genius in his own right. We had great general managers and good, you know, like I said, program directors throughout my career, and I had great people around me. Just, you know, everyone worked hard. We all wanted to win and have fun. The ratings were fun and to win, and we saw the results and with the live shows and people coming out. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was wild going to live shows sometimes. Like I would do a show in Sarver, PA. I'm not kidding. Be like 1,000 people camped out waiting to get in. It was so fun, and I thought this is something I got to really appreciate. You know,
yeah,
it's not. I don't want to take anything for granted. I never did. So,
have you thought about going back into radio? Is that something you would do again?
I like podcasting more now. I did. I when I first got out of it, I wasn't sure what to do. Yeah, I loved doing stand-up, but I loved radio. It was a natural for me. And I went back for like 10 months with some friends, and I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different, you know, after 25 years of doing it. So I'd say as far as morning radio, I don't think so. I think I did everything I could do.
Right.
You know, it was becoming repetitive the last few years for me in a way, you know, and I was ready to do something different and try new avenues with comedy. Like I said, podcasting's great. I do love stand-up, and with the internet and social media, it's changing things. You can build your own a new following, you know, which is cool. You know, I'm lucky. My fan page on Facebook gets like 1 million views a month. And,
wow!
And so that keeps things fueled, and so I'm able to stand up and, you know, not only here but around the country and corporate shows, and do my own podcast called Jim Krenn, No Restrictions. And so yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
keep busy with it.
Sure.
You never stop, never retire when you love what you do.
Right.
I don't think I ever could retire.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a quick sponsor break, and we'll have more with Jim Krenn right after this.
Thank you.
Where do Pittsburghers go to make a good night even better? Con Alma in downtown Pittsburgh, where the lights stay low, the jazz speaks for itself, and the kitchen is on point. Come early and stay late, and let the night do the rest. That's Con Alma, downtown Pittsburgh.
Welcome back to the Gen X Pittsburgh Podcast. We are here with Jim Krenn. Valerie, I think you have
for having me.
I think you have
I appreciate it. I do. It's been a lot of fun.
I think you have a crowd question, correct? A
I
question
do,
from the crowd.
I do.
Our first, I think, by the way.
Our first crowd question.
Yes.
Cool.
How did your Pittsburgh characters travel outside of the city? Did people understand them?
They do understand them to a degree. When I go to Los Angeles, my buddy Mark Eddy will put together shows. We'll do maybe 3 weeks of shows, different clubs. You know, I'll do the showcase rooms, but we'll also do these little clubs. And what happens at the end of the show, Mark will bring me up and say, Jimmy's from Pittsburgh. You know, Mark's from Youngstown area. And he's going to tell you some Pittsburgh stories. And I would get up and I would describe Pittsburgh first. and it's just like any other neighborhood, you know, just, and really it's my act of storytelling. So I'll just say, you know, I'll say, my mom is a Pittsburgh mom, which means her idea of breakfast is a cigarette and a Dr. Pepper. Things like that. Give them an image.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into a story. So it travels well as a story. You know, stories are just stories. People are just people. The act travels. When I do my stand-up, I see maybe 10 minutes of it is Pittsburgh. The rest is all stories that can be interchanged, you know, into be just a story and impressions and whatever. But it travels well though, because it's no different than, you know, us watching Fargo, you know, things like that, or New Jersey, whatever. It's just our own little world, but the commonality being we're just people.
Sure.
Right? Just try and do our best. So yeah, it travels.
What makes you laugh these days?
Oh man, that's a great question actually. I like, I'm a TV, I grew up in a TV generation, and I guess certain shows make me laugh, like, you know, Seinfeld, some of the offbeat shows, Man Seeks a Woman is one of the funniest shows I've seen in a while. So mainly some offbeat comedy shows like that, I guess, that I enjoy, you know. It's weird. I don't know, maybe because I'm a comedian, I like the weird, like, gory stuff, like Dexter. My girlfriend's like, you're so dark with your stuff. Like, my TV, you see my Netflix, and she always like horror.
Right.
It's like, yeah, so, but yeah, I try to laugh at everything, actually. And it's like everyone's, you know. Clever jokes make me laugh, you know? Clever jokes. I'm
not your person for that.
Funny, good. Yeah, I love watching really good comics that can tell a story, you know. Ron White's one of my favorite, believe it or not. He can tell, you know, just tells a good story. Chappelle, I love watching him. Yeah, it's my favorite thing is guys like that and women like that can tell story, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so you're so good at what you do, but I'm curious, you know, when you hear Seinfeld talk about his jokes,
Yes.
he talks about years of you know, honing these jokes and really getting his act where he wants it to be. You don't seem to be that style. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that you are much more natural as a storyteller. It seems like much more comfortable telling stories. Is that true?
Well, yes and no. Actually, Seinfeld was a big influence on me in the late 80s before I got on the DDE. So I was writing with him, and he taught me a lot. He's not much older, you know, but I'm just saying he was ahead of the game, obviously. And we were working on a joke. We were at this club in Rochester, and he was doing the Tonight Show. And we were working on a joke. And I liked this one line I had, and it was good. And he did it once, didn't do it after that. I kept saying, why don't you do the line? He goes, Jimmy, it's got to be better than good. So what do you mean? He goes, everybody has somebody in their family that's funny. He said, everybody has someone at work that is funny. And they really are funny. Because if you want to charge money, you're going to have to be funnier than them.
Wow.
So you got to push it.
Yeah.
You got to hone it. And he taught me to structure my day, to work certain hours, to write. And I do it till this day. You know, you pick out 4 hours a day, and you're going to write those hours and take it really serious. It's a business. And he taught me that. And as far as honing a joke, he if you noticed, he works very clean.
Right.
And one of the things he told me, I'll never forget, he said, Jim, if you can make a joke clean, and it could work from an 8-year-old to an 80-year-old, and it becomes a piece of artwork.
Yeah.
So write artwork. And I love that. So I try to use that to challenge myself. So the stories are loose, but they're actually orchestrated a bit.
Yeah.
They're honed in and done over and over, trying to edit and different, because everything has to be honed and segued. So there's a little bit of, but you don't want to show that because it's, you know, the work side, you want to be, you know, Jimmy Buffett, where it's no work.
Right. Right.
It isn't really work. Believe me, it's
Right.
not work. I wouldn't call that work. But there's a certain time you have to put into it and a certain discipline, just like everything.
Sure.
Just like everything.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for?
just what my grandmother said. It's just what she's right. You'll be remembered for the people you helped, giving. You know, like St. Paul said, you know, show you a happy person if show you a person that is giving to somebody or something. And I want to remember somebody who gave a lot and appreciated what he was given. That's what I'd like to remember for. That'd be great.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you certainly given us your time, and we appreciate that.
No,
we
thank
really
you
do.
so much.
Yeah.
You guys are just-
But we're not
We have
done
a
yet.
little
No,
bit
no,
more.
no, no. I want to ask you about
Okay.
Easter dogs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a business.
I was hoping you were going to bring some today. Maybe next
I
time.
promise. Next time I will. We found the recipe of the Dirty O, the original hot dog, and we claimed it. They didn't have a copy. We got it. The Dirty O.
Wow.
Right? Original hot dog. Pittsburgh, right? So we got the original Yinzer dog, and myself and Dan Marino and Larry Richard partnered. And we have this company called Yinzer Dogs, and it's the Dirty O dog. So fortunate and honored to be in Giant Eagle. So you get in Giant Eagle, we have a brick and mortar in Cranberry, the Yinzer dog, and one coming hopefully soon in the my home strip district. So we're looking for that. But that's, you know, the new thing we're into. And yeah, I'm not a food guy all of a sudden, but I'm kind of like, I'm a hot dog guy. I love hot dogs. And I love the Dirty O. Didn't we all, right? Back in the day. Pittsburgh's a hot dog town.
Yeah.
Hamburgers and hot dogs, right?
Right.
That's our thing, man.
Right.
And so we want to have the best hot dogs. So we're going to work at that. And so hopefully we will have that for you.
You must be pretty sure of yourself, because I have to say that the only thing less stable than radio is the food business.
It is,
right?
yeah. I like the gamble.
Yeah.
Gamble.
Yeah, you sure are.
I
Yeah.
definitely enjoy it, taking a shot, taking
Yeah.
a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Oh no, yeah. So we got one more little thing for you.
Yeah, please.
We're going to ask you a question and you just have to answer it.
Okay.
These are quick. They,
Yeah,
they
they're
come
quick.
fast.
All right.
Okay.
All right, rapid fire. Good.
Three Rivers or Heinz Field?
Heinz Field,
Iron City or Rolling Rock?
Iron City.
No. Do you see that? No hesitation.
Turner's or Schneider's?
Turner's.
Favorite Gen X band?
Clark's.
We got a yes from the audience.
Yeah, Scott Blasey, Buddy Mike. Yeah.
Donzi's and Chauncey's or Rosebud and Metropole? I really can't wait to hear this answer.
Dawnsies and Sean. All the way.
What about your favorite Gen X movie?
Oh God, that's. I don't know. That's a hard one. I have to think about that for a while.
All right.
What's yours?
Probably Singles. Do you remember Singles?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah,
The Clerks.
Yeah,
Clerks.
yeah, I like Clerks a lot as well.
Yeah.
That whole,
Nirvana
style.
or Pearl Jam?
Nirvana.
Okay.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Christmas movie. Yes, all
All
day.
right.
Oh my gosh.
Holiday. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Southside Beehive or Oakland Beehive?
Southside Beehive.
And
I used to work there actually.
It's the coolest. It was
Yeah,
cool, right?
yeah, it was very cool.
which character are you from The Breakfast Club, if you have one?
What's Molly Ringwald's character?
With the hat, right? Yeah. All right, that's what we'll say.
We're
Yeah.
actually adding one more
Yes.
question today.
Okay.
Right. So, Paulson and Krenn or Bauman and Krenn?
Paulson. I love them both. I love them both. But we had such freedom back then,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
I mean, we couldn't get away with anything. Now we did that. So it was more the Wild West. But I love working with Randy also.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Thanks.
being here.
Appreciate
Really
it.
appreciate
Yes,
it.
thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, everybody that came out.
Hosts for the Gen X Pittsburgh Podcast are David Rullo and Valerie Christoffel. Executive producer, David Rullo. Producer and graphic design, Kimberly Rullo. Producer, Valerie Christoffel. Video production and editor, Brent Isaac. Music by Neostem. Sponsored by Potomac Station Coffee House and Con Alma.